Hello, everybody. It is Monday night, and you know what that means. That means it is time for the Sunday Night League. That is right. We are back once more with some more SNL. This time, you'll notice we are not racing Formula X or Super Formula cars. We are in our multi-class series. We are doing our second ever season of Endurance. This time, we are doing timed races, 1 hour timed races. You may remember from last season that we did lap-based races that were intended to take approximately an hour. This season, however, we are doing timed races. They will actually be an hour long. But not on the dot, because it's hour and then finish your lap, but, within an hour and 1 minute 30 seconds kind of thing. So it's an hour long race. Now, one thing to keep in mind with endurance races on GT7 is that they don't function exactly like real life. In real life, if you go to the 24 hours of Le Mans and the 24-hour clock finishes, then if you cross the line, you keep going until the leader has crossed the line. When the leader crosses the line, then you are on your final lap. But should the leader, say, crash on the final lap, then in real life, you would have drivers continue to drive until someone overtook the leader, and then they cross the line. So in real life, it's when the leader crosses the line, then you're on your last lap. But in GT7, they don't have that more complex system in it, so it's much more simple. With GT7, a 1 hour race ends when the 1 hour timer goes off and you finish your lap, regardless of where the leader is. Now, that can mean some unfortunate things, where if you're chasing somebody down, maybe you're 10 seconds behind them, and the timing is unlucky, they cross the line and then the timer ends and then you cross the line. Tough luck. You're not going to be, you're done. They're going to finish the lap. You won't have that chance to catch them over that final lap because you have not made the timer. But nonetheless, theoretically, this keeps it to a more solidified 1 hour race. But I think we have done enough rule explaining for now. I think it's about time we went through the grid for today, and then we can go back into more rule explaining, because I don't want anybody to be watching this completely lost. So, this race is the 8 Hours of Kyoto. It is Kyoto Yamagiwa. I probably butchered the pronunciation of that, but I don't know Japanese. I mean, I know how to say Kyoto. It's the second word that I'm... Anyways, timescale is on ×8 to simulate the 8 hours of Kyoto, so you will be seeing it get dark in this race. Let's go to the teams and drivers. So, we have 8 teams on this grid. Last season of Endurance, we didn't have teams, but this time we do. And they are split between the two categories. First off, let's take a look at the first category. The first thing you'll notice is that we are using the Toyota hypercar that is in the game already as our Group 1 car this season. Last time we used the Peugeot. Now we are using the Toyota for this season. The Group 1 side of this is a single make spec series. But drivers are recreating real liveries on this Toyota. So first off, we have our first pole position of the season in Group 1 goes to Ragemus Prime of the Stiff Shifters team with a green windshield banner. That's the word. It's a green windshield banner. So you'll notice that the similarity between the two teams is their windshield banner color and their team name. So the green team, Stiff Shifters, has Ragemus Prime, number 84, taking the first pole position of this season with his Audi. second on the grid, and you'll notice the spacing between these cars is very far apart. It is a rolling start for this season, for this championship. Next up, we have, using a Toyota livery on the Toyota, very fitting, is Edgar. Edgar, number 77 of Toyota Gazoo Racing, the yellow team. Works very well as a livery on that car. Although I suppose that's not too much of a surprise, considering that is the livery that goes on that car. Third on the grid, big gaps between these guys. Third on the grid is none other than Tamo, driving the Nissan livery. Enduro Max is his team, the pink team. Qualifying third, number 53. And I often like to talk about, expectations going into the race, but being the first race of the season, there are very little expectations going into this race. Next up, we have our first champion on the grid. Not a champion in endurance, but a champion in SNL. Of course, the Season 9 Formula X champion. It's number 12. It is Ajax of the Blues Brothers team. Ajax is on, the Blues Brothers are the red team, and Ajax, as you can see, is running a Lamborghini livery, that Italian livery. Looks excellent. Going from fourth on the grid. Fifth on the grid is Gasman for Velocity Racing, the orange team. Yeah, that's orange. The orange team. He is, of course, using an Acura livery, number 89, going from fifth on the grid. Gasman, of course, also a champion in SNL. Rob on drums of Shell Racing, the white team. Rob on drums doing a Porsche livery with lots of Shell sponsorship there. Next up is number 59. It's Isotta Fraschini livery. It's the Isotta Fraschini livery for Tiny Terror, number 59, racing for Eiffel 65 Racing, the blue team, and that blue goes very well with the back of his car. Not quite the same shade of blue, but close enough that it looks very, very nice on that car. Number 59 there, going from 7th on the grid. 8th on the grid is Lynchimus Prime, number 69, driving for the Darkest Horses. Number 69, the purple team, Rebellion Racing, is his livery, and that is a fantastic looking livery. I really like that. That is your Group 1 field, but of course this is a multi-class series. So we will have 8 more drivers to look through. No new teams though, as the way the teams are split, it's 1 driver in the Group 1 category, 1 driver in the Group 3 category. Pole position, the first pole position of the season in Group 3 goes to none other than the very, very rapid Wendigo. Number 40, driving for Shell Racing, so teammates with Rob on drums, driving the Lamborghini Huracan. There we go, that is your first pole sitter of the season. The Lithuanian, going from first. Next up is second place. It is Bunnies of the Blues Brothers. The red team, of course. Bunnies, champion last season in the Group 1 category of endurance. Switches to Group 3 for this season. Takes number 99. And it will be intriguing to see how this Hello Kitty livery does. The Subaru BRZ, his car, number 99, going from second on the grid. Next up, Toyota Gazoo Racing's Climicision, number 23 here, the yellow windshield banner on there, and of course, a Toyota livery, because what would you be doing if you named your team Toyota Gazoo Racing and used a Toyota and didn't do a Toyota livery? Number 23 goes from third on the grid. Fourth on the grid of stiff shifters is Bondimus Prime. Wow, what a surprise to see Bondimus and Ragimus Prime teamed up. Where have we seen that before? Where have we... Why would they ever do that? It's almost like they're very close friends. Strange, that one, huh? Anyways, green banner for Bondimus Prime, number 32, in the Ferrari 458. I'm not actually sure where this livery comes from, to be honest. I would love to know if Bondimus could tell me. It's a very nice looking livery, but I have no idea where it comes from, to be completely honest. And that is a lovely helmet. I think that is Andrea Kimi Antonelli's helmet. So I wonder if Bondimus is a fan. Right. Fifth on the grid is Pat, in what I have to say I think is possibly the best livery of the season, and I think will be going, come the end of the year, will be in the best livery of the year competition. It's Pat driving for the blue team, which is of course Eiffel 65 Racing, teammates with Tiny Terror, also driving the Ferrari 458. Of course, the Ferrari 296 not an option for this season, considering it was used in the most recent GTE season. There's Pat in there with a George Russell helmet, actually. That's a very nice helmet, but if I'm not mistaken, that is a George Russell helmet. Sky Ferrari. I really have to say, I love this livery. I think it's really fantastic. Next up is Velocity Racing's Ben. It's number 1, the reigning Group 3 champion of SNL Endurance. It's Ben, going from 6th on the grid in his Toyota GR Supra. We'll see how Ben does for Velocity Racing. Next up is Aloe of the Darkest Horses with Nissan GTR. He is teammates with Lynchimus Prime. Of course, Ben was teammates with Gasman. Aloe teammates with Lynchimus Prime, driving this lovely livery here from 7th on the grid. And last but not least, it's Sutkus of Enduro Max, teammates with Tamo, driving the Nissan GTR, a very Nissan team, considering Tamo is also driving a Nissan livery. So 8th on the grid for number 83, and there is your second grid of the night. There are your Group 3s. There are your Group 1. Well, they're a bit far away, but the Group 1s are over there. There they are. You can just see them poking out over the catch fence. There we go. 16 drivers. I usually like to go through the grid, going from back to front before a race. It's going to take a little while to do that this time, so we won't. But 16 drivers going for victory. 2 of them, not 1, but 2 of them, can emerge victorious. And the question remains, who will it be? But we have to answer a couple other questions first, just quickly. The tire rules for this season. You are required to use a minimum of 1 stint on softs, 1 stint on mediums, and 1 stint on hards. Should you fail to do that, you will not have met the required number of tire compounds. However, you are permitted to use as many of any given compound of tire as you would like. There's no restriction to that. There's no maximum amount of softs you can use, or mediums, or hards, but there's a minimum of 1 each. This is not a track where it can rain, but there will be tracks this season where it can rain. This is the 8 Hours of Kyoto. Drivers are expected expected to manage this track for an hour on 8 times speed for the time of day, hence why it's the 8 hours of Kyoto. Group 1 drivers will, of course, be much faster than Group 3 drivers. Those two championships are separate. Group 1 and Group 3 are separate, but they have a joint teams championship. Worth also mentioning that we do have 3 official reserves for this season, so you may see Kaiser, Slenderfella, or Mauritius Tam stepping in for any of these 16 drivers at some point throughout the season should they miss a round, and we do know that some drivers will be missing rounds. So, when a Group 1 driver laps a Group 3 driver, there are going to be blue flags because the game just does that. However, a Group 3 driver is not required to move out of the way of a Group 1 driver. In fact, it is the Group 1 driver's responsibility to overtake the Group 3 driver cleanly, and as such, being the Group 1 driver's responsibility, if there is contact, any penalties given out to a Group 1 driver for contact with a Group 3 driver will often be extremely heavy penalties. Last season we saw, I believe it was Alpha Capri take somebody off the road, one of the Group 3 drivers, and he got a 1-minute penalty for it. This is to ensure that Group 1 drivers bear in mind that Group 3 drivers may be in slower cars, but they are in no way inferior. They are on equal terms on the track. Both categories are equally as important as the other. And it is going to be messy watching Group 1 drivers try to thread the needle of Group 3 drivers. This is multi-class racing. This is SNL Endurance. Season 2, Round 1. Let's get this race underway. It is a rolling start. Ragemus Prime will go from pole for Group 1, Wendigo for Group 3. It's lights out and we are racing here at Kyoto. It is a good getaway for Ragemus. Edgar right behind in the Group 1. It'll be single file into turn 1 of this Kyoto driving park. All drivers managing turn 1 cleanly so far. Pat is a bit wide out there. Ben is looking for a move on the exit. Nothing doing yet. All clean so far. Threading through the S's, Ragemus leads the way for stiff shifters, but it's Edgar to the inside. Can he make the move? Ragemus is out wide, he's on the grass. He holds it together, but he's gonna drop 3 positions here as Ajax takes 3rd, Tano takes 2nd, and Edgar takes 1st. Here comes Gasman on the inside of Ragemus. There's Tiny Terror swooping around the outside of a couple drivers there. What a move from the Isoda Frashini livery driver. There is Tiny Terror up into 5th. Ragemus drops from pole to 6th already. 7th for Rob on drums. 8th for Lynchmus. Up in the back in the Group 3 field, it is Wendigo leading the way. Bunny's sticking right to the back of him, and a bit of a gap forming back to Clinicision, who has Bondimus right on the back of him. It's Ben in 13th. 14th is Sutkus. 15th is Aloy, and 16th is Pat. Pat, huge snap of oversteer. But what a save for him. It's the GTRs side by side into the chicane, though. Who is it going to be on top? It's Sutkus, who slides in ahead of Aloy, taking that 14th position. I am not great at quick math, so I may struggle to tell you off the top of my head. This is, 11th is 3rd in class, 10th is 2nd in class, 1st is Bunnies, who's made an overtake into the final corner, but here comes Wendigo, back down the inside at turn 1. Can Bunnies defend it? He's going to be on the outside. Surely Wendigo has this. No, Bunnies, using the grip of those soft compound tires, maintains 1st place in class. And back up to the front, it is Edgar leading the way from Tamo, Ajax right behind in that Lamborghini livery. These 3 are streaking away from Tiny Terror, who sits in 4th position, just ahead of Gasman, putting the pressure on the Eiffel 65 driver. Ragemus behind. Oh, that's Gasman who's gone off the track, and Ragemus is going to take the position here with ease. Rob on drums might be able to get Gasman under braking. No, Gasman's going to try and go for a move on Ragemus under braking. Can he pull it off? Under acceleration, he's going to get back past, and the Acura livery driver gets through. Let's see, can he make the move fully? Yes, he does, and he is through the chicane. There we go. That's Gasman up into 5th position. Lynchmus sits in 8th, last but not least in the category. First in the Group 3s is Bunnies on softs. Wendigo currently on mediums though, so doing well to keep with the driver ahead. Bondimus on mediums as well has gotten past Climicision since we last looked, although Climicision is on hards, so that shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. As is Ben. Ben seems to have a bit of a thing for starting races on hards. He's doing it once again here today. Here's Sutkus on mediums. It's mediums for the other GTR of Aloe and hards for Pat at the moment. Edgar leads the way on hard compound tires. Camo also on hards, Ajax on mediums will be desperately wanting to get through on these two drivers who sit on a harder compound tire than he. Gasman through on Tiny Terror. Tiny Terror goes wide, in fact, and that's going to be 3 positions lost as those softs are looking absolutely vandalized at the moment. Rob on drums is 6th. 5th is Ragemus. 4th is Gasman. 2 of these drivers on hards. The other, Rob on drums, on mediums, on the outside of Ragemus Prime. Can he pull off the move? Round the outside goes Rob on drums towards the chicane. He slips in front and he's got the position. That's 5th place for Rob on drums and a great move to take it. There are hard compound tires on Lynchmus Prime's car. Bunny's still under pressure from Wendigo, but these two are absolutely flying away from Bondimus, who is making a gap to Climicision as we speak. Ben sticking to the back of Climicision relatively well as there's movement at the top of the field. Camo makes the move on Edgar. This we have to see. A move for the lead will go on board with Camo. He goes to the inside of his Lithuanian friend. Edgar tries to outbrake him, but there's nothing he can do. Camo has the better line and takes the position. Ajax will look to see if that can skew the momentum away from Edgar and perhaps even towards him. Through the S's, this trio flies. Tiny Terror in the pits. Exits the pits still in 8th, so maintains ahead of all of the Group 3s despite the early pit stop. This trio is so close together. Here is Camo under pressure from Edgar. Edgar unable to pull off a move into this triple chicane, but here comes Ajax. Can he get a better exit than the Toyota liveried driver ahead of him? Camo still under pressure from Edgar. Further back, it's Gasman snapping the car. Just about keeping it facing the right direction though. Rob on drums putting some pressure on him. Ragemus sits directly behind. We've got a couple of trios forming in this Group 1 category. Behind is Lynchmus and Tiny Terror. Tiny Terror has taken his first pit stop, gotten off the soft compound tires, and put on the mediums. Bunnies on softs is also destroying his tires, although the sense I get from seeing him and Tiny Terror is that the softs simply do not last. So Bunnies navigates the hairpin with Wendigo putting pressure on him, and at this stage the mediums will probably be a bit better than the softs with the amount of wear those have taken. Wendigo putting pressure on the Hello Kitty livery ahead. Bondimus navigating the chicane. Looked a little bit scuffy there, sketchy there, but manages it nicely. Second Toyota sliding around as the Ferrari up ahead making some strange engine noises. Bunnies is into the pits. Wendigo usurps the lead of the Group 3 category. Bunnies in, Climicision moves up to 3rd, then 4th, Sutkus 5th, Aloe 6th, 7th will be Pat. No, Bunnies comes out ahead of Pat, so Pat will maintain 8th position. Bunnies comes out onto the hard compound tires in 7th position. The Group 1s are going to be catching the Group 3s very soon. You can see Edgar putting pressure on Camo. Is he going to go for the lead into Turn 1? Yes, he is. He returns the favor to Camo, who went down the inside of him into Turn 1 a few laps ago, and here on lap 6 of this 1-hour race. Edgar takes back the lead, and I am now realizing that there's no timer being shown on this screen. And I don't know that there's a way to get a timer to be shown, but you can see in the bottom left, or a timer in terms of how long is left, I should say, but you can see in the bottom left corner of your screen there is a timer for how much time has been spent. Bear in mind, this is a 1 hour race. We are 7 minutes and 45 seconds in. Camo sits behind Edgar, on board with Ajax as he looks to close in on these two ahead. The two Lithuanians ahead of the Canadian. And the three of them, if you look at the track map, you can see crossing the line now is likely Wendigo in first place in the Group 3 category. Every car behind is a Group 3 until you get to here where Edgar sits, looking to make a move on the Group 3s that he's approaching. Here is our first example of multi-class racing this season. We're going to see Edgar make his way past Pat. Pat ahead in that Ferrari has the blue flags, no obligation to get out of the way, just to be predictable. There goes Edgar. Tamo will be next. Tamo is through. Then it's Ajax. The three of them navigate the first of the Group 3s. Nicely indeed. Edgar now is going to come up to Bunnies. Edgar comes up to the reigning Group 1 champion. Oh, he's got to dodge around the outside of Bunnies, but Bunnies maintains a steady line, being predictable as requested. Ajax looks to the inside for a split second on Tamo. Tamo goes for the move on Bunnies. Can he make it through? Oh, there's a little bit of contact, and Tamo is going to lose out a bit there, as Ajax is now going to climb up the hill ahead of Tamo, gets past his teammate, and is now going to try and stay ahead of Tamo, who is looking to take back P2. Bunny's on the inside of this battle, trying not to get involved, and there we go, these two get past that Hello Kitty livery. Edgar is through on Ben as well. Edgar goes through on his teammate. Clean decision. Next will be Bondimus, and then it will be Wendigo. Multi-class racing taking full effect now. Rob on drums. Has he overtaken a Group 3? He has. He's through on Pat now, as is Ragemus. Lynchimus has not yet overtaken a Group 3. Tiny Terror... Oh, and Gasman on his outlap. Gasman has taken his first pit stop as well, going onto the medium compound tires. I believe he was on hards before. So Edgar leads the way. He's building up quite a gap as we get a lovely camera view there. Here comes Tamo, just in time for the camera to see Tamo go up the inside of Ajax. Can the Lithuanian pull off the move on the Canadian? Not quite. What a defense from Ajax. But it's not over yet. Here's Bondimus in front of them, and Tamo's going to use the traffic to his advantage, slips through, bump drafts Bondimus by accident there, and that's actually going to allow Ajax back ahead for a split second, who goes to the outside. That's going to turn into the inside, though. It's not a move he can make on Tamo. Tamo regains the position. Bondimus just about escapes with his life. Ragemus behind Rob. Rob goes through on Ben. Ragemus, ooh, unlucky for Ragemus, as he's going to have to sit behind the Group 3 for just a moment longer, but very calm, very controlled from Ragemus, and that is exactly what you're supposed to see from Group 3s and Group 1s in multi-class racing. It is, oh, Gasman to the inside of Tiny Terror for 7th position here. Can he pull off the move? There's a tiny bit of contact, and there's traffic in front. Oh, not traffic, apologies. That is Lynchmas Prime. This is a three-way battle, and it looked like there was a three-way battle ahead as well. Bunny's involved with a couple of drivers, goes to the inside of Aloe. He's on the inside of Sutkus as well. Can Bunny's make the move on these hards? He's way up on the grass, and he has to give up on trying to take the position from Sutkus, but here comes Aloe. Can Aloe squeeze through on Bunnies? Bunnies is going to have the inside line here, and here come the Group 1s as well. 2 three-way battles in one. Oh dear, how is this going to go? It's Gasman and Tiny Terror making contact. Aloe gets bumped a little bit. Bunnies drops back. Aloe's off the track. Has Aloe been hit off the track? Oh dear. How we ended up on Bunnies? Aloe, there we go. And Aloe, oh, maybe contact with Lynchimus? I'm not entirely sure. But Aloe hits the wall and drops a couple of positions. Sutkus survives, Bunnies survives, and the Group 1s survive as well. It's Wendigo. Ooh, that doesn't look good. What has happened here between Wendigo and Tamo? So Ajax is back ahead of Tamo. Here they go through here. And Tamo... Oh, Wendigo drives into the side of Tamo a little bit there, it looks like. Both of them seem to survive the incident all right, though, so I don't think there will be any big measurements taken there. And Tamo gets back past Wendigo. Wendigo leads the way in his category by a whopping margin. Here's Bondimus now navigating that chicane. It's Clinicision behind, Sutkus, Ben, and Bunnies. So Ben has... possibly dropped some time, actually. Ben has damage. What has happened to Ben here? That doesn't look good. What's happened to Ben? So Ben comes into the hairpin, and it looks like Tiny Terror just outbreaks himself, possibly. Hits Ben into the wall, and Tiny Terror, that is our first example of multi-class racing going wrong this season, as Tiny Terror will get on his way, as does Ben. But a bit of a messy moment there for them. Tamo into the pits off of his hard compound tires. Wendigo also in the pits off of his mediums. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Bunnies, who was ahead of him when he pitted, but pitted onto hards, so may have been losing time, especially in this traffic. Ben weaves to the right for a moment there. I don't think he saw the Group 1 coming. And Bunnies is going to be ahead of Wendigo as Wendigo exits the pits. So Bunnies has undercut Wendigo quite successfully, but is quite low on fuel and will need to pit within the next lap or two. These hards are not doing wonders for Ben anymore. They're getting pretty worn. Bunnies goes to the outside. Can the Canadian make a move? Nothing doing here, surely. Not around the outside, no. He goes for the switchback, though, and that might just do what he needs. No, not quite. Ben has very good acceleration out of there. Bunnies, is he going to dive to the inside of the chicane? No, he thinks better of it. Ben is doing an excellent job. These are our champions from last season, as that was Aloe running across the grass there in the background. But the champions do battle. It's Bunnies behind Ben. And still no move being made yet. Bunnies outbreaks himself a little bit there. Wendigo is coming up to the back of Aloe. Pat runs in 15th and Clinicision in 16th. Edgar runs in first of the Group 1 category and is managing very, very nicely. Ajax sits in second. It's Ragemus Prime in third. Rob on drums is into the pits as well. He comes out of the pits into last place of the Group 1s. Tiny Terror's mediums are just about dead, though, so I can't see him staying out much longer. Tamo finished his outlap and is now on his way for his first flying lap on the hard compound tires. Lynchmus Prime ahead on hards, yet to pit. Gasman has pitted, and he sits in fourth, so that is a very interesting situation for him. I'm not sure who's in the pits right now. It is Bondimus and it is Sutkus. So Ben leads the way in the Group 3 category. Bunnies still putting pressure on him to the inside, and Bunnies makes the move as Ben's tires give up on him here. Champion of Group 1 makes move on champion of Group 3. Sounded like a YouTube video title. Here goes Wendigo ahead of Aloe. So Aloe is going to look to see if he can potentially challenge the driver in front, but on worn mediums compared to fresh hards, I think Wendigo will have the pace advantage here. Ajax into the pits. Gasman usurps third. And the question is begging to be asked, when Edgar eventually pits out of this enormous lead, where will he come out? The Toyota Gazoo Racing driver. laps Bondimus nicely there. Those hards are not going to survive very much longer. Ragemus Prime, same boat for him. On very worn hards, going to need to pit soon. On quite worn mediums is Gasman. He's already taken one pit stop. He pitted off of the hards, so he can use softs. He still needs to use softs at some point in this race. But I don't think those will last very long, considering how quickly we saw Tiny Terror pit when he started the race on softs. He has pitted again off of his mediums and onto a set of the hards, so he has now fulfilled his tire requirements and can do whatever he'd like to the end of the race in respect to the tires. Wendigo leads the way in Group 3, which I believe means that Ben and Bunnies have both pit. Yes, they have, and they're side by side. Bunnies on the inside makes the move on Ben. They are last and second last. Our champions representing well. No, but that is just tire strategy that's got them there, and it will be very interesting to see throughout the rest of the race how others manage. Bunnies is on mediums now, which means he has fulfilled the tire requirements already. Ben, on another set of the hards, still needs to use both mediums and softs still in this race. And you can hear the Group 1s coming up to lap them. There was one just at the top of the hill. But we're watching Sutkus now in that Nissan GTR, trying to run away from Hello Kitty and Esso. Esso Ultra Flow. There's a tiger on this car. That's cool. I like that. But here is Lynchimus Prime. Let's see if we can get to the right name here. There we go, Lynchimus Prime. No, that wasn't Lynchimus. Oh, it was Ragemus. There's Ragemus. Ragemus on these hards. Edgar finally peels into the pits. Ragemus goes past Ben, and he's going to have to wait for a moment before he can get past Bunnies, unless, of course, he goes into the pit lane. Which he does. Here's Gasman. Also into the pits. Our top three all pit. It's the fastest lap of the race for Tamo, a 22.6. And he will usurp the lead from Edgar, who sees his Lithuanian friend disappear into the distance, and must now sit knowing that he cannot, or he has not, maintained the lead. Will he be able to catch, though? It's worn out hards compared to fresh mediums. Edgar might just be able to catch. It is very worn soft for Rob on drums in third position, though. You can see those little dots on the side of his car. 3 are lit up to indicate that he is in third position. 2 are lit up on Edgar's car to indicate that he is in second position. 1, oh, there's Ben off the track. Thankfully does not make contact with Tamo, who has 1 light on the side of his car to indicate that he is in first place. You'll notice, however, that Ajax in fourth has no lights lit up because he's not in the top 3. You only get a light if you're in the top 3. In fact, you get 3 of them if you're third, which Rob on drums has at the moment that Ajax is looking to take away from him. Ajax sits behind into the chicane. It's Porsche versus a Lamborghini. Not a battle we've seen too many times in real life. But that's part of the glory of this championship, is the way it mixes together manufacturers. It's going to be Rob on drums peeling into the pits, and Ajax usurps third. 5th, soon to be 4th, for Ragemus, but Yasmin might make it 5th again at this rate, as he's looking for a move. Nothing into turn 1. We'll go on board with him through the S's. Can the Acura livery driver get past Ragemus Prime in his Audi livery? This is velocity racing against stiff shifters. Orange versus green. Nothing into the S's. You can see a Group 1, or a Group 3 up there, apologies. Sometimes you can use the traffic to your advantage to make a move on your opponent. There is a risk to that, though, because you really don't want to hit the Group 3, and Ben, not in an easy position there, I think might have actually been forced to cut the corner a little bit, but Gasman will sit on board with him a little bit longer, manages to navigate Sutkus. There's Bunnies up ahead. He'll be next as we are racing into the sunset now. And Gasman sits behind Ragemus, looking for an opportunity. These Group 1 cars are tricky to battle with, but they can create some fantastic battles when drivers really get into the groove of things. Speaking of which, they go to either side of Bunnies, and Gasman is going to take the inside line into the final corner and make a stunning move on Ragemus Prime for 4th position. Ragemus has to drop behind. It'll be Rob on drums in 6th, 7th is Lynchmas, 8th is Tiny Terror. 1st in Group 3 as it stands is the ever-rapid Wendigo. Aloe sits in 2nd at the moment, having just been lapped by Tamo. Here comes Edgar behind, though. Slips to his inside on the exit of the corner, and there goes Edgar. Clemicision is in 3rd in the Group 3 category, looking to try and catch and pass Aloe. Aloe had a 141.1 last lap and a 138.5 the previous lap. These tires are dropping off compared to Edgar's 36.7 and 36.6 the past 2 laps. His mediums holding up much, much better. The outside of the chicane is a bold choice for Edgar. Is he gonna do it? Oh my god. Goes to the outside of the first half. That gives him the inside for the second half of the chicane. And he outbrakes Aloe for a slick move in the final sector. And takes away 2nd position. And Aloe is really dropping. Surely he'll be into the pits now. He is indeed. Bondimus should usurp 3rd. Bunnies will take 4th as such. 5th will be Sutkus and 6th will be Ben. Once they are through, I think Pat is far enough back that Aloe will stay ahead of him, but I can't say that for certain. As running behind Pat is a Group 1. There he is. It is, of course. Why can I not identify it? I think that is Lynchmas. Yes, Lynchmas. Ah, the purple looked like blue to me for some reason. So I got a bit confused. Because I knew blue was the Isoda Frashini livery, and that is not an Isoda Frashini. That's a Rebellion. Which is a very cool choice of team to represent. There's no livery on this grid that I dislike, but I have to say, I really respect the choice to represent Rebellion Racing from Lynchmas. Tiny Terror runs in 8th in category, and overall. That's the fun thing about Group 1s, is whatever they are in category, hopefully is what they are overall. If they're not... If what they are in category and overall does not line up, you have a problem. Unless it's like the first lap and you've spun. Like, I mean, you have a problem then as well, but like, it happens. Here comes Ajax to lap the race leader in the Group 3 category. And it's bizarre saying race leader and then watching him be overtaken that easily by not 1, but 2 cars in a row as Ragemus scythes up the inside of him there. And Ragemus is looking to get a move on Ajax ahead. The Italian livery of Lamborghini ahead of the German brilliance of Audi. Ragemus Prime sits behind Ajax. Managing that left-hand hairpin. There's a lot of left-handers on this track, but there's a few right-handers as well. We're no NASCAR series. We like to turn right as well. Did Ragemus just flash his lights at Ajax? I think he might have, but I'm not sure. Ragemus is going to get an excellent exit from the final corner, but it's not enough. He has to pull into the slipstream and sit behind Ajax for the time being to the inside. Goes for the move. And that is the Audi up into second position very nicely indeed. Number 84, That was a slick move if I've ever seen one. Into turn 1, uses a slipstream, and gets through just like that, on the inside. Ajax is going to sit behind a little bit now. He'll be looking to see if he can fight back, but on those hards, it's not going to be an easy ordeal. Edgar leads the way. A couple laps ago, he set the new fastest lap of the race. It was a 22.047. And it's worth now pointing out, if we go here with Edgar, his headlights are white. So are all of the other Group 1s. However, these are yellow. As are these. As are these. Oh, his Bunnies is actually ahead of Bondimus now. So the Group 3 cars all have yellow headlights, while the Group 1 cars all have white headlights. What this does is that when you get to the classic endurance racing look, where all you can see is headlights, if nothing, these are white headlights. If nothing else, you should be able to tell the difference between a Group 1 and a Group 3. Because a Group 3 will have yellow lights shining in your eyes, and a Group 1 will have white headlights. Oh, contact! That was not pretty. Sutkus makes the mistake through the chicane, and I think that was Tiny Terror indeed, who pays the price, running into the back of him. Tiny Terror here in the Isotta Fushini belt, number 59. Navigates the chicane, gets past Ben now, into the final corner, and I think Ben just flashed his lights at Tiny Terror. Possibly a bit of anger for the incident earlier in the race. Pat runs in 8th, but he's not far behind Aloe here. We do have a bit of a battle for second last place here. Well, he's not within striking distance as it stands, but it's not, out of the question that he could catch, for sure. Lemicision sits in 14th. He's fresh out of the pits. This is his first flying lap after his pit stop. Sutkus on these hards has been on them for quite a while now. Ben ahead, his hards look like maybe they're giving up a little bit, given the wider line he was taking there. Bondimus lapped by Tiny Terror once more. Bunnies, there is a yellow flag in this sector. Who has had an incident? It is a Group 1, I believe. I think Gasman, maybe, was the cause of the yellow flag. He was indeed, but that's a horrible view of it. On board with the Acura, we'll look behind us. Nobody nearby. No pressure, Gasman. But he gets on the gas a little bit too much, maybe a bit too much curb. Just clips into the wall a little bit. No damage done, but continues on his way with a bit of time lost. Perhaps the only damage done was to his ego. That'll give Lynchimus the opportunity to gain on him a bit, but not enough to overtake. And it does give Rob a little bit more comfort zone behind. Ragemus sits in second. He's got Ajax still putting the pressure on him as the two of them lap Aloe. Edgar in first has a quite sizable lead at the moment. Both of these drivers are wearing through their tires, although Ragemus has much less left on his front right than Ajax does. I think we'll see Ajax making an overtake soon. Gasman saying, "I will fix Ben's lights for round 2. Much appreciated, Gasman. It happens with mistakes with deliveries. It's just very unfortunate when I'm trying to explain something about, hey, here's the difference between the categories, and then I find somebody who's made that mistake. But no, it happens, no shame. Ajax still behind Gasman, Ragemus Prime, apologies, but does overtake a couple of lapped cars that looks like Clinicision that he just went through on. If I can find Clinicision, yes. And a Lowy behind will have just been lapped as well. And Pat, I think, what has Pat set the past couple of laps? A 37.2, a 38.0 compared to a 37.5 and a 37.4. So keeping relatively even with the Lowy, all things considered. Edgar has bunnies in front of him. You can see the Hello Kitty on the front of Bunny's car. That car, of course, or that livery, I should say, driven, of course, at Macau a couple years back. As Edgar is going to go into the pits. Oh, Ragemus! Ragemus has spun! What has happened? He gets through on Ben, but the front right looks like it's about to give up. And it does exactly that. Into the wall, Ben clips into the side of him as well. And he spins it around on the grass. Careful with the rejoin, he is indeed, sticks to the left-hand side of the track. These cars have a lot of difficulty getting away from a standstill, though. And Ragemus Prime gets on his way now. Edgar will maintain the lead. No, he doesn't. Ajax through into the lead. And there's a crash up ahead. Oh dear, who's that for? It is for... I can't tell. Oh my god, Edgar! Edgar's going for a move! So hopefully we'll get to see who crashed as this happens as well. But oh my god, Edgar goes for a move into the S's. Somebody, it was a Group 1. He goes around the outside. That becomes the inside. It'll become the outside again, but Ajax is off the track and unable to defend the position. Edgar will continue on his way. Soft compound tires serving him well already in this race. Hello, Slenderfella in the chat. Good to see you. And I actually missed it earlier, but I believe Wendigo saying hello as well. So hello to both of you, although Wendigo looks like he said that quite a while ago, so I apologize for missing that. And Pat saying you could do with a bit more consistency. And it is a difficult track to manage the consistency at, especially with the way the tire wear goes. Just the way it wears so quickly on the front right. There's so many vital corners on this track that are so important for carrying speed, and I find when the front right wears the way it does, you lose that ability very sequentially. So I find consistency is quite difficult to maintain around here. Wendigo into the pits, so is Bunnies. So the both of them are into the pits now. We'll get a decent idea of their gap. Wendigo is off of softs. We'll see what he's putting on. Did he use hards earlier? I think he... No, did he? I'm not sure. Either way, he puts on another set of softs, which is interesting because I would have thought the main sort of race tire would be mediums. But that is, if Wendigo can manage them. Wow. I mean, props to him. Mediums on Clinicision's car. It's hards for Sutkus, and Wendigo, of course, maintains the lead through his pit stop. And it's another set of mediums for Bunnies. A Lowy there, ahead of Bunnies, getting lapped by a Group 1. Bunnies behind, with a Group 1 coming up behind him. That looks to be... It really is hard to tell sometimes. Oh, it's Ragemus Prime. There goes Ragemus. In 5th in this race, Ragemus will go past Bunnies. Next up on the list is a Lowy, and he makes it through nicely indeed. What is a Lowy on? A Lowy is on dead soft. Bunnies is on fresh mediums. And, you know, something just tells me Bunnies is going to get a move here the way, very, very soon, the way he is gaining. And Edgar, I believe, has just set a new fastest lap of the race with a 1:21.141. That is a phenomenal lap time. Late on the brakes for Bunnies. Down the inside goes the Hello Kitty driver, the Blues Brothers driver. And he makes the move for Ellie on the back of his car. I believe that is... I believe the livery was meant to be a tribute to somebody by the name of Ellie, although I should be completely honest when I say that I'm not entirely certain. I haven't done proper research into that. Ajax drops behind Ragemus, so Ragemus in the Audi will usurp 4th position away from the Lamborghini driver, but Ajax will be right on the back of him with fresher mediums. Apologies, I don't know why the game did that. But Ajax in 5th, right behind Ragemus. Thought he was going to go to the inside for a move there for just a moment, but he thinks better of it as they lap Plymouth-Cision. Ajax in 5th, Ragemus in 4th, Rob on drums in 3rd, going across the grass a bit. That's a really tricky chicane. We've seen a lot of drivers making mistakes there. It's not an easy one to navigate, it has to be said. We'll see Gasman do it next. We'll see if he can navigate it on these hards. He does indeed, but you can see the tire marks from drivers gone by. And Bunny's on the outside there, on the right-hand side of Gasman. Tiny Terror in the pits is in 8th. Oh, it's mediums for Wendigo. What? Huh. I don't know why I thought it said he was on softs. I could have sworn it said he was on softs, but I guess not. So mediums are the tire Wendigo goes on to, which is much more what I had expected. So I apologize for lying to you all and saying he was on softs. I genuinely could have sworn it said he was on softs, but apparently not. Plymouth-Cision in 2nd, though. Bunny's hunting him down. Oh no, actually, Bunny's is a lot further back than I thought. The way the camera angle changed, I thought he was only maybe a couple seconds back, but he's quite a ways back, actually. Ben in 12th. Bonus in 5th in category, as we have Ragemus going for a move on Rob on drums, nothing doing yet, and Ajax is sitting behind. It's a 3-way battle for 3rd place in this race in the Group 1 category. It's Rob from Ragemus from Ajax. Mediums for the back 2 hards, worn hards, no less, for Rob on drums in front of this battle. Rob is going to have the outside line down towards turn 1. Ajax decides to go into the slipstream of Rob. Ragemus is through just before the corner, and Rob on drums runs wide. That's going to be a big opportunity to Ajax, who slips through up into 4th position, and Rob on drums loses 2 positions in 1 straight and 1 corner. It seems the Ragemus-Ajax fight is the closest. Oh no, there's contact! Why is it so often when we go to Ragemus, he's in the middle of an incident? He manages the chicane okay for the most part, but he gets a snap of oversteer and gets clipped by Ajax, which takes away any small chance he had of saving that. And Ragemus is down and around and in 5th position now. Rob on drums will retake the position from him, but still sits behind Ajax, who has much fresher and softer tires. So Ajax presumably will pull away as soon as this front end damage repairs itself. Edgar emerges into 2nd. We are 39 minutes and nearly 20 seconds into this race, which means we have just over 20 minutes remaining. We are well into the second half of this race. Tamo leads the way. He runs in 1st position. Laps Pat there. Both managed the chicane nicely. I was worried they weren't going to, given just the sheer number of times we've seen drivers fail to do so. Again, tricky, but it has been happening a lot with drivers making the mistake there. So Edgar sits in second, Tammo in first. Tammo will need to pit soon enough, given his fuel only is about a quarter remaining of his tank. A quarter. And Lynchimus is into the pits. So Lynchimus for Rebellion, the darkest horses, goes into the pits. And I have to say, this is our first ever time, I think ever in SNL, but certainly our first time recently, allowing drivers to pick their own teams. We didn't do any random picks or pots or anything like that. It was just whoever ends up with whoever, and that's why we've ended up with some teams that seem very strong. I mean, Bunnies and his brother Ajax are both champions in SNL. That's a very strong team. And it's also why they're together, is because they got to pick their own team, and they went, you know what, I'm going to race with my brother. So Ajax and Bunny's teammates this season, the Blues Brothers, a reference to one of their favorite movies. Movie that they and their family have watched many, many a times. The Bunnies sits second in class. He's ahead of Ben in third. Ben is having a tricky, but albeit overall successful so far, race, sitting in third. Bunnies in second, and of course Wendigo just about dominating this race in first. The mediums are working well for him. Tiny Terror going to be lapped by some Group 1s here. Tammo's in the pits. Where will he be in comparison to Ajax? Ajax will be ahead. Ragemus will as well. Where's Rob? Rob won't be ahead. The Tammo exits the pits in fourth. Ragemus in third. Second, Ajax. First is Edgar. And this Group 1 group is really starting to spread themselves out, as Tiny Terror, getting blue flags for Ajax behind, runs himself off the track and into the wall, but he survives. Those hard compound tires not doing him any favors here. Lynchimus. There's some fire coming out of the side. Can we go back and see that again? That looks cool. Some fire coming out of the side of Bunny's car. Let's see if it shows us that view again. That's quite cool looking, actually. So that Subaru BRZ spitting fire out of the left-hand side as Bunny's downshifts. And he'll send his way down the main straight. Huge gust of fire there as he manages turn one. All those Hello Kitties looking around on his car. Ben is under pressure from Bondimus now. Oh, actually, that was a Group 1 that was closer to Ben. They're still not far apart, but I thought they were a bit closer than they actually are. Who is that? That Ajax was navigating that duo there. And it will be Ragemus up next, coming up towards his teammate on Stiff Shifters, the green banner team. There we go. He laps his teammate there. Can we look back? There is Bondimus. And there's Ben. He's going to slip by there. And into third position. Well, he didn't slip by them to get into third position, but he's sitting in third position. I wonder what the lowest average racing number is this season between teams. If I had to say, I think it would probably be Eiffel 65 Racing, with Pat's number 4 and Tiny Terror's number 59. So there's only 3 teams that are lower. That would come out to... I mean, the total of that would come out to 63. Which is lower than all but 3 of the Group 1 drivers. Tamo's teammate is Sutkus, who is 83. Rob on Drums and Wendigo are 40 and 42, which would come out to 82. And Ajax and Bunnies are 12 and 99. So that's definitely over 63. So there you go. There's your answer. Eiffel 65 Racing. Their numbers together come out to 63, making for an average of 31 and a half. I'm not very good at math, so that might have been wrong, but I think it's right. Edgar in first. Ajax in second. Third is Ragemus. Fourth is Tamo. Fifth is Gasman. Sixth is Rob on Drums. Seventh is Tiny Terror. And eighth is Lynchmas. This Group 1 field splitting a little bit further out. Gasman saying definitely not the first time this has happened. I'm guessing referring to the color of the headlights. Bunnies usurps the lead as Wendigo goes into the pits. Will Bondimus take second? No, Wendigo comes out of the pits well ahead of Bondimus, so it is beginning to look like a 2-horse race, although frankly it is a 1-horse race. Wendigo, I mean, unless the strategy really pans out in Bunny's favor somehow, Wendigo is... There goes Tiny Terror up the inside of Bunnies, I think scaring Bunnies a little bit there. But Bunnies, yeah, I think he's a bit too far behind Wendigo unless strategy really works out in his favor. This is looking like a bit of a dominant performance from Wendigo. It will be, if he can hold it to the end of this race, and he's only got just under 13 minutes left to do so, but if he can hold it to the end of this race, it will be only Wendigo's second win in SNL, but it will be yet another podium added to his already immense tally. In Formula X, I was starting to call him Mr. P2 because he was getting it so much, and he had been getting it quite a bit in GTE as well. Finished P2 3 times in a row in GTE, and then many, many more times in Formula X. Fought for the championship, was only 1 point off of the championship, if I'm not mistaken, in Formula X, but was unable to take the championship or a single win throughout the season, but now he sits in net winning position in this race, and he looks to be trying to make himself Mr. P1 for today. Bondimus is under pressure from Clinicision for third. This could be a very interesting battle. If Bondimus can hold him off a little bit longer, we'll see into turn 1. Clinicision on the outside. Is he going to survive it? He does. Round the outside of turn 1 is immense. What a move from Clinicision. From Toyota Gazoo Racing, he overtakes the Stiff Shifters driver. And it'll be Rob on Drums here, coming up to lap the two of them. Getting involved in this battle, goes through on Bondimus, now he'll go through on Clinicision, and Clinicision's going to run a tiny bit wide to let that happen. Bondimus's mediums are absolutely dead, and he's got just about no fuel left, so I think Bondimus will be in at the end of this lap. Wendigo up ahead, Clinicision though, just ahead of Bondimus, and will probably continue to pull away a little bit longer. As it's Bunnies into the pits, so is Tiny Terror, the two of them taking their final pit stops at the same time, I say final, we've got just over 10 minutes remaining in this race. I would assume these are the final pit stops. It's hard to say for certain whenever it comes to endurance racing, but it should be. And considering Tiny Terror's only fueled just over halfway, I think it's fair to assume this is the final pit stop, as he's putting on the medium compound tires from 7th in the race. He will continue on his way. Ooh, as Slenderfellow said, his replacement wheelbase arrives tomorrow, and he has missed his racing. So hopefully that means he can slot in as a reserve at some point in the near future. He is one of our official reserves for this series, but I mean, hopefully he can actually get on track soon enough. Because that would be lovely to have Slenderfella back racing. And Pat saying a little win, but on behalf of the team, he'll take it. As you should. The lowest average race number goes to Eiffel 65 Racing. Now the question then is begging to be asked, what's the highest average number? And if I had to guess, I would say it's the Darkest Horses. But I'm not sure. And the bigger the numbers get, the harder math becomes. So if somebody else wants to figure it out, they can. But I'm not going to be able to do that very well. So Ragevis has a lapped car behind him. It is Tiny Terror, who's using the grass, using all the track and more to make his way around this circuit. Edgar leads the way, but is into the pit lane for what will be the final time. Ajax will follow him in. Ben goes in as well. Camo behind. Camo is going to continue on his way. So where's Edgar? Edgar comes out of the pits in first. There's Tamo behind, but he's on worn hards compared to fresh mediums for Edgar, and I find it hard to believe that he would be able to get ahead. Ajax in the pits, refueling. He's on his way out, 50% in the tank. There's Ben ahead. There's Sutkus ahead as they swing over to the right, and there's Pat. Does Pat make contact with them, perhaps? Pat, I'm not sure. He doesn't have any damage. But that is a messy rejoin. There we go. Ben does have damage, so I think there was contact when he came out of the pits. And we have a three-way battle here with a Group 1 sat directly behind it. There we go. Ajax able to get through 1, 2, and 3 of the Group 3 drivers. All in one go. And here come more Group 1s just to make it a little bit more complex. As Sutkus has Pat right behind him. Pat sliding around a little bit. Those mediums are worn, but the softs and the mediums on Sutkus and Ben are fresh. Fresh as ever. And here comes Ragemus Prime trying to get past Ben. There he goes. Ragemus is through. Cleanly indeed. And there we go. Into the final sector of the track now. With 6.5 minutes remaining, we are getting to the end game of this race. Formula One has the fans elect a driver of the day. But I will ask you, anybody who is watching this stream, who is your driver of the day thus far? Is it Wendigo, who's dominated Group 3? Is it Edgar, who's put in some brilliant driving in Group 1? Maybe it's Climicision in his first endurance race, managing his tires and fuel nicely to put himself into third ahead of Bondimus, a very strong competitor. And Gasman says he has the answer. It's Enduromax, with a 68 as the average race number. So that is Sutkus and Tamo. So, big numbers and little numbers all around. We have a number 1 on this grid, and we have a number 99. And entertainingly, it's our 2 champions from last season. Here's Sutkus on the inside of Ben. Can he make the move? Ben, I think there's contact there. Ben is off track. He's going to hold the position for a moment. No, he doesn't. Oh, there's a bit more contact as Sutkus barges up ahead. That is a huge car also. The GTR, I drove it in Season 2 of GTE all the way back. And my god, that thing is massive. Utterly humongous. If you get that thing next to, like, I mean, it's taller than the Group 1s, and I think possibly the Supra is taller as well. But the oh dear, that's Ragemus going around. That is a lot of spins from Ragemus. Oh my goodness. Ragemus on the outside of the chicane, runs wide, contact with Ben, and he's around once and a half. Rob? Why was Rob on the outside of that? Rob goes to the inside of Pat, and the Group 1s are just having a field day in terms of chaos. He just runs wide. Man, what even is Group 1? You know? You have one driver spinning, and he's off track, and then you just watch another driver go even further off track to get past him. And Gasman is through on Ragemus as well, so that is actually a really rough one for Ragemus, who on his outlap loses 2 positions. But he's going to have a chance to get it back. Gasman on the inside, Ragemus on the outside, round the outside of turn 1. We've seen this move a couple of times, but it's a tricky one to make, and Gasman defends it well, but it's a switchback for Ragemus. Can Ragemus, with only 4 minutes remaining, take back 5th place in this race? He does indeed. He's through on Gasman. He's back ahead in the Audi, and now he has to get past the Group 3s that he was dealing with when he spun. He's through on Ben. He's through on Pat. Gasman stuck behind Pat for the moment. Can he get past that Sky-sponsored Ferrari? He does indeed. He's up. Well, he's not up ahead of anyone new, but he is up ahead of Pat once more, and Pat, I think, runs wide for a moment there. Ben, the reigning champion, having an absolute just gong show of a race. This is not going his way. There was contact with Tiny Terror in the early stints of this race. Now he sits 16th and last, 8th in category. I don't think that wall was Pat. There we go, that's Pat. So it gets ahead a Lowy, just being navigated by some Group 1s now. Onimus sits in a comfortable 4th in class, 3rd for Climicision. Bunnies will be still trying to hunt down Wendigo, but pretty unsuccessfully. He's pretty far back at this stage, and Wendigo, with only 2.5 minutes remaining, looks to be a comfortable 1st place in this race. It's going to be Bunnies being lapped once more by his teammate towards the chicane. Lynchimus sits in 8th. It's 7th for Tiny Terror, 6th for Gasman. 5th is Ragemus Prime. Gasman can still put some pressure on Ragemus, but Ragemus' softs seem to be working pretty well for him at the moment. Rob on drums on Warren Hards, though. He might be worried about the guys behind, because they may be able to catch and pass him. Ajax well ahead of that trio. Tamo well ahead of him, and Edgar well ahead of him. It would take something quite spectacular at this stage in the race, with less than 2 minutes remaining, for Edgar to lose the lead. It is looking like it's going to be Edgar's first win in SNL, and let's not count our chickens before they hatch, because something definitely could still happen, but with a minute and a half left, it looks comfortable. Edgar, all he needs to do is take it home within the comfort zones of that car. Tamo on Warren Hards, he shouldn't be too worried about Ajax, quite a distance behind. But Rob on drums, he does need to be worried, because Ragemus is side by side. He's beyond side by side. Ragemus is ahead of Rob, and those soft compound tires paying dividends. But with just under a minute left in this race, it's hard to say Will those socks make it to the end? These socks, they wear so quickly, and if Rob on drums can stick on the back of Ragemus for now, then perhaps, if he's lucky, the socks can die on Ragemus, and Rob on drums could get back past. It would be a tall order. It seems unlikely, but it's not impossible. Gasman, behind on mediums, is very low on fuel. I think Gasman is too low on fuel, in fact. Tiny Terror also very low on fuel and is not really going fast at all. And we are only 15 seconds away from our hour mark. Where is our overall leader? He is going through the hairpin now. It's going to be the first of our finishers. Looks like it's going to be Tiny Terror as he stops on the line to do that, but he does indeed become the first of our finishers. But through the final corner, he is right behind a Group 3, but he is right ahead, far ahead in fact, of just about everybody else. Edgar is going to be victorious in Kyoto. It's victory on home soil for Toyota Gazoo Racing, and what a drive from Edgar to put him in his first victory in SNL. There are drivers finishing left, right, and center here. Tamo takes home second. It's going to be Ajax who comes home in third. But it's going to be victory for Wendigo as well. The Group 3 driver is going to take victory. It's his second in SNL. And with it, he is victorious in Kyoto, ahead of Bunnies, who sits way back there, and Wendigo dominates the race for victory. Bunnies will come home in second place, and you can see behind him now, that looks to be a couple of Group 1's. Ragemus will take home fourth. Rob will take home fifth. And out of fuel, Gasman will trudge his way down to the line. Some victory celebrations for sixth place from Gasman. A little bit of weaving there, some lights flashing. And he's going to finally cross the line and take sixth place. But it's Edgar, who will come home victorious in Kyoto. What a drive from the Toyota Gazoo Racing driver. Can I please get a different camera angle? Apparently not. This is how we're going to look at Edgar, I guess. So Edgar takes victory number 77, the Toyota driver. What a driver. What a drive. What a car. What a win. Well done to Edgar. Second place will be Tamo in the Nissan car, liveried car. Toyota Gazoo Racing taking victory in Group 1 with the Toyota livery. Enduro Max taking second with the Nissan livery of Tamo. It'll be the Blues Brothers in third with the Lamborghini livery, Ajax coming home third. Fourth for Stiff Shifters in Group 1 with an Audi livery on Ragemus's car. It'll be Shell Racing, the Shell livery on the Porsche livery on Rob on drums in fifth. Gasman comes across the line in sixth for Velocity Racing in his Acura livery. Seventh to Eiffel 65 Racing, Tiny Terror in his Isotta Fraschini livery. And eighth for Lynchimus Prime, the Darkest Horses, the Rebellion livery, takes last but not least in the Group 1 category. Wendigo will take first place in Group 3. It's finally victory again for the Lithuanian. It's Lithuanian, excuse me. It is Lithuanians on top in both categories. In fact, it's two Lithuanians and a Canadian on the podium in both categories. Wendigo for Shell Racing in that Lamborghini Huracan takes first place in the opening round in Group 3. Second will go to that Hello Kitty livery, the Subaru BRZ of the Blues Brothers driver Bunnies takes second. Climicision in third for Toyota Gazoo Racing in his Toyota GR Supra takes third. Bondimus for Stiff Shifters in his Ferrari 458 takes home fourth. Fifth for Aloy, his Nissan GTR for the Darkest Horses is going to be fifth in the first round. It's another GTR, this time Sutkis's Enduro Max Nissan GTR in sixth. Seventh, it was not the round that the reigning Group 3 champion wanted. Ben is on the back foot following the first round for Velocity Racing, the Toyota GR Supra, for the number one driver, not quite managing the race as he would have liked. Seventh place for him. And Pat in eighth, that Sky Ferrari 458 for Eiffel 65 Racing. Number 4 takes home, last but not least, 8th position in the Group 3 category. Thank you to everybody who watched. What a race. We are back to multi-class racing, and isn't that just such a fantastic thing? We have a six? I should double check the calendar before I confidently make any statements like that. We have a 6-round calendar. 8 hours of Kyoto are now done. 6 hours of the Glen at Watkins Glen, full course, just to be clear, next week. Then we'll do 10 hours of Alsace Village, not the test course. That would be insane. For round 3. The 24 hours of Le Mans will be round 4. That will be the week after the real 24 hours of Le Mans. Couple of our drivers going to the 24 hours of Le Mans. Bunnies and Tiny Terror going together along with previous driver and champion of SNL, Cool Dude Boy. Not sure if anyone else in SNL is going to that, but that's pretty cool for those three, I'd say. Then it's 12 hours of Styria at the Red Bull Ring for round 5, and the 8 hours of Sao Paulo, or San Paulo. I'm not entirely sure how that's supposed to be pronounced. I think technically it's San Paulo, but I'm so used to saying Sao Paulo. Either way, 8 hours of that Brazilian circuit, Interlagos, on July 5th, and that will round out the end of the season. But for now, we've only just gotten going on the season. We have had a fantastic race. Thank you to everybody who competed. Thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to everybody who enjoyed. Thank you. See you next week. Thank you and goodbye.